Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Manowar, issue number 1. Why do I have my hands free? Well, the truth is, this comic book doesn't actually come out until March 25th. That's right, an entire freaking month from now. Professor Bill, why are you reading this book early? Well, it was sent to me early. Valiant Comics usually sends me a comic book a Friday before they come out. That's like barely a week. This they sent out a month in advance. Yeah, they're really trying to push this one. Okay, so usually I don't like to do comic books like this in advance. I don't like to do any comic book in advance. I don't like to get a comic book review out until I actually have the physical copy in my freaking hands. But in this particular case, I'm going to make an exception because I did read the thing early and I do really like it. So I'm going to talk about who made the comic book. I'm going to read a description of the character, and then I'm going to move on. And I'm going to start telling you about the comic book itself. So, the writer is Dennis Hopeless Hallam. The artist is Emilio Laso. Ruth Redman on colors, letters, Hassan OTSMANE-ELHAOU, and cover art is by Christian Ward. A whole bunch of variant covers out there, and you can feel free to check all of those good stuff out. Also, we've got the editor, Heather Edtotes. Heather. Can we make her the Heather instead of just like the editor? She should be the Heather. That's my opinion. Anyway, I'm sticking with that. Not going to change my mind now. Sorry, I'm stuck in my ways. You know who else is stuck in his ways? What a great freaking... Wow, if I didn't say anything about it, that would have been a great freaking segue into the character. Anyway, Manowar is undeniably stuck in his ways, though he's trying. Let me give you a description of the preamble to the book itself. I love when they do this, especially for somebody like me who doesn't really know these characters too well. A 4th century Visigoth warrior prince, Eric of Dacia, was abducted and enslaved by aliens known as the Vine. No, not the Vine that was on your internet a long time ago. Apparently that's something entirely different. Anyway, so escaping their control, Eric bonded with the unique sentient armor called Shanhara, becoming Manowar, the most powerful weapon in the universe. Returning to Earth in the modern day, Arak and Shanhara use their incredible capabilities for the good of mankind, but mankind may have other intentions. Okay, and that's actually a really good segue into the book in and of itself, because mankind is not overly happy with their local superhero. Now, if I had to make a complaint about this comic book, I'm just going to get this right out of the way because we are still on that page, the title page. I don't see who made this character. I don't see who created this character. The trick is I actually already know. Jim Shooter is one of the main contributors to the creation of this character. I know that because I met the man, I interviewed the guy, we had ourselves a really good conversation, and he told me as much. Yeah. And if I didn't need him to tell me as much, Bob Layton, who did the best Iron Man comic books ever, Demon in a Bottle, Iron Wars, the Armor Wars, and Doom and Iron Man and Camelot, all of those amazing stories. Yeah, that was him. He told me as well. You can go and check out that interview also. That was the question I asked. And yeah, he was, he doesn't even like Jim Shooter. He can't stand the guy. But he gave him this credit, so that says something. Anyway, that is something I would like to see. I give credit where credit's due to the people who wrote the book. How about who created the book? I would love to see that in the comic books. It would show a certain amount of respect, right? So anyway, in and of itself, this is a character who is completely out of time. A man out of time, yes. I'm making the comparison. The obvious comparison for this character is Venom, right? He's got a symbiote suit that's bonded to him. It's, well, for now it's unique. We'll wait. We'll see if we wind up having a planet of Shanhara. But anyway, and it's wrapped around as a prison for this super symbiote god thing. Anyway, so unique as this particular thing is, it does seem a little bit like Venom. It also seems a little bit like Captain America, which I love. This guy is a man out of time. This guy isn't just a dude from World War II. This is a guy from the Visigoth era, right? He's back then, and then he's abducted by aliens, which is completely absurd to him, and then he finally returns to Earth, but nowadays, in the modern times, and wow, that's freaking weird, with a superpowered suit. He's also a hero who tries to do his best in a local city. So which basically the capabilities of the suit and the idea that he's mostly based in a city reminds me of old school Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. Absolutely love all of the little tiny callbacks to other characters that I see in this comic book. Some people may say, oh, well, isn't it kind of copying? Yeah, but Captain America and Green Lantern and Venom are all rip-off characters of other characters also. So, and some from other companies. So who really freaking cares? I'm really interested in the story and the character development. Now, the history of the character stops, for the most part, in the preamble of the comic book, which I genuinely enjoy, because I don't know that much about this character, and this gave me exactly what I need to be able to read further into what the character is going to be doing from this point on. Then, the little bit that we do get about the character's past that Dennis Hopeless is actually writing about inside the word bubbles, the narration boxes, all of these different areas where the character itself is talking about himself. I'm not getting so much the character's history, just the slightest bit, because I don't need it anymore. I had the preamble. But what I'm getting is the character's motivations. Ooh. Hallam has a great way of you can tell when he actually studied up on a character, all right? And maybe he was looking at one of the Marvel database books that I've done where he's finding that out. I never worked on the Valiant database, though, so there's that. Anyway, when he does actually study a character, you know it, because you get a really great version of that character being handed back to you, where you're not just learning about the character's past. That's really cute. Sometimes writers will talk about a character's past just to be like, checkpoint, look, I know the character's past. I read up on the character's past. Yeah, whatever, blah, 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 like my work. No. He actually gets into the motivations of the character by reading the stories and keeping in continuity with a lot of these other stories. Is he keeping continuity with this character? I just told you I've never read this character before, so I don't freaking know. But I've got a great insight onto this character's motivations, and that says something. That's something that we don't usually get with a comic book. Here's this guy who's, again, out of time and trying to do good in the world, and even with the super powerful sentient suit that can detect problems all the way on the other side of the planet, he still winds up running into problems because this is an alien suit, and he is very alien to this time period. So when you've got an Elon Musk type character sending out his little practice rocket to, fly around and impress all of the people on his yacht, and Exo Manowar and his uniform think that it's some kind of a missile, antics will ensue. On that particular scene, the transition between him believing this is a credible threat into what happens, you will find no sewing thread anywhere in this. It is perfectly seamless. It is freaking awesome. I had to laugh out loud at how perfectly that was set up. The art in this book is freaking spectacular. I love this. I love the idea that apparently this guy is missing his left hand for some reason. Couple things on that. One, I didn't realize it at first. He is an amputee. He had his shirt, tucked over. He's playing basketball and doing things, and he's barely using a hand. I'm wondering, what the frick is happening here? Is the guy missing a hand? And then you flip the page, and oh, yeah, he's missing a hand. Actually, I just scrolled because I don't have the freaking physical comic book. Damn it, I got to wait a month for this. But I've got a long time to choose which cover I'm going to get. The second thing about the hand thing is it's actually played in a really good way. I can almost imagine in my head Dennis walking around for an entire day or so with his sleeve, his hand tucked into his sleeve and whatnot, because I don't know anymore. Anyway, enough with the getting into my personal history. Amputees that I have known, they don't only obviously they can't use that particular part. Like if they're missing a hand or an arm up to the elbow or something like that, they obviously can't use that appendage. But they literally don't use any part of that appendage for anything but balancing for the most part. So while you and I might go, to move something, even if we're holding something up, our other hand might come up just for in case balance. But there is no way for them to do that. So the arm will literally hang down by its side. There is no use for using the arm because there's no hand at the end. And that's exactly how Dennis treats this character. There are parts where it's he's doing things and it's any of us would be at least put our other hand close, but he doesn't. He actually treats this character like a real amputee, which is pretty damn impressive, I gotta admit. This was a genuinely fun comic book. I enjoyed reading this. It felt real for a guy with a symbiote suit fighting against the Vine. And just him trying to get along with his neighbors in this city and whatnot. How this character who has no food, no money, is able to get food. That was a really cool one. I'm pretty sure I saw him flying over Pearson Airport out here in Canada. I'm not sure, but there's that. Anyway, I genuinely like this. The cool part about getting this in advance, just like me, is you get to choose which cover you want. Maybe you want more than one, who knows? But you have the opportunity to order in advance to get your comic book, and I highly recommend that you do, because this is a really cool character so far. Like, I'm hoping this doesn't get screwed up because I'm enjoying this, but yeah, I am genuinely enjoying this comic book. In the morning, I am putting this on my pull list. That's not a joke or anything like that. You can go in and ask Carlos, hey, what does Professor Bill have on his pull list? I tell him, you can tell him whatever you want. It's cool. He will open it up and he will tell you, and you will see the last thing on there, depending on how far away this video is from when you saw it. He will say, Exo Manowar. So, baby, I'm serious. Anyways, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.